children and young people of today are a little different from those of generations past. They play, they learn. They learn by playing. They chat with their friends. They fall out with their friends. They sometimes frustrate the adults who care for them. They're often embarrassed by the adults who care for them. And, like the generations of children and young people who have gone before them, they will build the Ireland that their children and grandchildren will live in. And, more than any other generation, they will build the world that their children and grandchildren will live in. The children and young people of today are the engineers of tomorrow. Which is why it's so amazing that people like you and organisations like yours are prepared to give of your time to work with schools and introduce those children and young people to the wonderful world of engineering. I'm Jackson from As Creators Connect, and I'm delighted to have this opportunity to be able to share with you some of the tips that we have picked up in the last 14 years of working in schools, a period in which we have worked now with directly well over 1 million young learners right across the globe. You'll find a lot of help and support in the Adopt a School Toolkit that we have developed for Engineers Ireland, a toolkit that's readily available. Now, we know that this year more than ever, there are a number of ways in which you might work with schools. You might invite a group of young people to visit you in your workplace, and this is where we at As Creators Connect are based. You might meet them virtually, and we've all got more than used to interacting through our computer screens over the last couple of years. Or, with life beginning to get a little easier again, you might go to visit them, taking your ideas and your experiences into the classroom. The toolkit has been developed with each of these possibilities in mind. And to make life easier, everything has been clearly signposted. If you're planning to invite a group to your workplace, you'll be looking at the sections with this illustration. If you're planning a live streamed interaction, it's this illustration that you'll be going to. And if you're planning to visit a school yourself in person, the pages with this illustration will be invaluable. First things first though. Just the very thought of working in a school, even if this is something you've done before, is likely to be already exercising a particular part of your body. But if the prospect of running such a session is already making your heart thump, don't worry. You're far from alone. And in fact, it's those very nerves that will impel you to engage, excite, and intrigue the engineers of tomorrow. But to be absolutely sure that those nerves empower you, not overpower you, I'm just going to go through a few things that will help you feel in control and help you feel secure in the knowledge that the children and young people you meet will get the experience that you want them to. And don't forget, this is all covered in detail in the Adopt a School Toolkit. And it all starts, as every engineer knows, with a little bit of research. Contact the school directly. They'll be pleased to hear from you, and you'll find an editable contact letter in the supporting papers that accompany the toolkit. Amongst the things you'll want to find out are: who is your contact teacher? Who are the learners you'll be meeting? How old are they? And how many of them will there be? When will this take place? And you'll want to know times as well as dates. Where will it happen? If it's going to be a streamed experience, what platform will you use? And who will issue the links or invitations? And the why. Why is the school looking for an opportunity like this? What objectives are they hoping to fulfill for their children? With your research complete, you can move on to phase 2, planning. So, what are you actually going to do? Introduce your audience to your world and share with them how you got there? Set them some engineering challenges. Open their eyes to the possibilities that engineering can offer them in their future careers and their future lives? Or something completely different? Whatever it is, try to have a very clear idea of what you want to achieve and of what you can achieve in the time frame you'll be working in. the how is as important as the what. Because unless you engage that audience, the what will be lost. If possible, we'd always suggest a mix and match approach. Visuals, PowerPoint slides, short films, photographs, always work well, supporting, complementing, and sometimes expanding on the words you speak. And engineering challenges never fail. Far from being well-worn cliches, the classic spaghetti and marshmallow activities are classics because they're so successful at engagement. Paper-based challenges are just as effective, as are simple conversations. Ask the learners to reflect on their journeys that day and share with a partner 3 ways in which engineers made those journeys safe and effective. You'll be surprised at some of the answers. If you're planning to give your audience an opportunity to ask you questions, you might like to consider asking their school or college to work with them to generate those questions in advance. By putting this in context as a challenge in itself, the questions and your answers will become an integral part of your presentation and not an adjunct to it. And by stressing that questions should be both useful and answerable, you'll find the outcomes are much more rewarding, both for you and your audience, than something that's more ad hoc. With your research and planning accomplished, all you have to do now is to collect together everything you'll need. You might want to confirm your ideas with the school or college first, and again, you'll find an editable letter in the pack of supporting papers that accompany the Adopt a School Toolkit. You might also like to think about anything you can leave the students with. Some literature from your organisation perhaps, or some branded pencils if you have any. You'll certainly never go wrong with a certificate of participation. And again, you'll find editable templates in the supporting papers. After all that research, planning, and preparation, you're good to go. And if you do wake up in the morning to find your heart is going bum tiddy bum tiddy bum tiddy bum tiddy bum tiddy bum tiddy bum bum bum, well, don't give it a second thought. You've done all you can. And your personality, experience, and passion for what you do will ensure that everyone has a great day. Be yourself. You are engineering personified. And that means that, like all engineers from all around the world, you are already an engineering superhero.